Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the fascinating journey of a man whose name is practically synonymous with the digital age. We are breaking down a transformation that literally shaped the modern world as we know it. We're going to see exactly how a teenage hacker built an absolute empire, became a ruthless titan of industry, and ultimately reinvented himself to try and save the world.
Think about this for a second. What if one teenager's total obsession with computers could change the entire world? It's a massive thought, right? But that is exactly what happened here. Today, we're exploring the story of a kid whose childhood curiosity evolved into just a relentless drive. A drive that brought us incredible vision, fierce competition, breakthrough innovation, and fundamentally changed our future forever.
It's a staggering contrast, honestly. On one hand, you've got this shy boy from Seattle, born in 1955, who vastly preferred reading books for hours over playing any kind of sports. And on the other hand, one of the richest, most powerful men on Earth. How do you actually get from point A to point B? What are the specific decisions and the lucky breaks that bridge that seemingly impossible gap?
All right, let's jump straight into Act 1, the teenage hacker. This is where the obsession began.
So his teachers noticed very early on that Bill Gates could solve complex problems incredibly fast, but he lacked a creative outlet and, frankly, he was frequently bored. Well, that changed in the late 1960s. Lakeside School had something exceptionally rare for that specific era, a computer terminal. And we really have to remember, in the late 1960s, very few teenagers had ever even touched a computer. It was basically unheard of, but he got his hands on one and it changed the entire trajectory of his life.
I mean, at that time, computers were gigantic, room-sized machines used almost exclusively by governments and massive corporations. Yet, while the rest of the world barely understood what a computer even was, this teenager was spending countless sleepless nights staring at glowing screens, just mastering programming languages. This was the ultimate 10,000 hours advantage. While most brilliant minds of that generation were studying traditional subjects, Gates and his older, equally brilliant friend Paul Allen were getting a multi-year head start on mastering the literal language of the future. It wasn't just a hobby for them, it was an absolute addiction.
And that led them to found Microsoft, driven by a mission that sounded like pure science fiction at the time. A computer on every desk and in every home. Just pause and process that for a second. Today, that's just our daily reality. But back then, people literally laughed at them. Computers were far too expensive, way too complicated, and way too rare. It sounded completely insane. But Gates and Allen saw the future before anyone else did, and they bet everything on that unbelievable mission.
Moving right along to Act 2, the Titan, building the Microsoft empire.
To actually become that titan, Gates had to take a massive leap. He made the highly controversial choice to drop out of Harvard University to focus entirely on his company. Most people thought he was making a life-ruining mistake. But Gates understood a profound paradigm shift that almost everyone else missed. Software, not the physical hardware, was the real key to the future. This became completely clear when IBM needed an operating system for their new personal computer. Instead of building physical machines, Gates made one of the smartest business deals in human history. He didn't sell the software to IBM outright, he licensed it. This was the ultimate aha moment. Gates realized that hardware would eventually become a cheap commodity, but the software running it would be a highly scalable, massively profitable standalone product. By licensing it, Microsoft kept total control. As IBM computers scaled up and spread worldwide, Microsoft software went right along with them, becoming the ultimate choke point for the entire industry.
And that single strategic move? It resulted in millions and eventually billions of users running Windows. Microsoft simply exploded. By the 1990s, the company completely dominated the tech world, and Bill Gates became the definitive face of the personal computer revolution. And, as a direct result, he became the absolute richest man in the world.
Now, unimaginable wealth and power inevitably bring a pretty complex public image. To some folks, Gates was a visionary leader and a genius who single-handedly ushered in the digital age. To others, he was viewed as a ruthless businessman and a monopolist. Depending on who you asked in the rapidly expanding tech world, he was sometimes seen as all of these things at the exact same time.
And, this tension didn't just stay quiet in the court of public opinion. Microsoft became so incredibly powerful that the U.S. government actually launched major antitrust investigations against the company. Critics actively claimed that Microsoft was crushing its competitors with unfair business practices. The tech world had literally turned into a fierce battlefield. But, impartially speaking here, despite all of this massive controversy and intense legal battling, Microsoft just continued growing and Gates continued winning.
Okay, let's pivot to Act 3, the philanthropist, a new mission for humanity.
Then, something entirely unexpected happened. At the absolute height of his corporate power, the richest man in the world pivoted. He started thinking well beyond business domination. In the year 2000, he and his then-wife created the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The sheer scale of this pivot was truly unprecedented. They began investing billions upon billions of dollars into global health programs, vaccines, and medical research. But listen, this wasn't just writing a check for charity. This was applying that same relentless, highly structured Microsoft focus to solving global crises. He was treating global health like a complex engineering problem, demanding metrics, clear deliverables, and highly scalable solutions.
The goals here were incredibly ambitious: fight disease, reduce poverty, improve education, and ultimately save lives. Their influence reached developing countries all across the globe. They funded everything from vital malaria prevention programs to highly complex clean sanitation projects. Think about it, he went from trying to put a computer on every desk to trying to ensure basic human health and survival across the entire world.
And much like his business career, this chapter has dual perspectives. Some fiercely praise Gates as one of history's absolute greatest philanthropists, pointing to the millions of lives saved and diseases eradicated. However, others strongly criticize the sheer unchecked power that billionaires now hold over global health and educational policies. But regardless of where you personally stand on that ongoing debate, no one can deny the massive scale of his global impact. He was no longer just a tech billionaire, he transformed into one of the most influential people alive today.
Which brings us to Section 4, Lessons for the Future. The key takeaways from the Bill Gates story.
So what can we actually learn from all this? The core takeaways from this journey are incredibly clear. First off, success often begins with pure obsession. Those sleepless nights coding, they weren't a chore. They were the foundation of an empire. Furthermore, when the world laughs at your ideas, like putting a computer in every home, it might just mean you're on exactly the right track. Gates also proved that recognizing where the real value lies, like choosing software over hardware, is everything. And finally, timing and preparation are the ultimate catalysts for making history. Recognizing the opportunity and structuring that IBM deal at the exact right moment, that changed everything.
But if you take away just one thing from everything we've covered today, remember this: technology alone does not change the world. People do. Bill Gates saw opportunities where others saw nothing but impossibilities. He took massive risks, he worked relentlessly, and he stayed intensely focused for decades. It's that human element, the drive, the vision, the execution, that actually bends the arc of history. So, here's my final, provocative question for you to ponder today. What do you think is Bill Gates' truly greatest achievement? Is it the towering business empire of Microsoft? Is it the sheer vision of the personal computer revolution? Or is it the billions spent on global philanthropy? I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts, so let us know down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and make sure to subscribe for more structured deep dives into the powerful stories that shaped our world. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.